It's week 11 in the books. 2 weeks of the regular season left to go. Can you believe it? It's like the season has just flown by. That's partly because our season is shorter than the regular NFL season, but it's also because time marches on, friend. Time marches on. And so we have now a playoff picture that's beginning to emerge, although I have to say that when you look at the standings, 8 of the 12 teams are separated by just 2 games. And only 2 of the 12 teams are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, and that doesn't even include Drew. Amazing. All right, well, let's get started. Once again, we'll start with what's at the top for me, and that's my game. Flaming Homers, Liam Neeson. This is a Division I, a Superman Division clash. Both teams came into the week 6-4, and right on the heels of You Betcha. And, well, this one just really wasn't close. Flaming Homers 161, Liam Neeson 103. This was the Whomping of the week. Did you notice that Toyota has very helpfully created that little ad space on the main page for fantasy football that tells you what the biggest beating of the week was? Well, that's how I know it was the Whomping of the week. Tom Brady did his usual 37-point thing, but the thing about my team this week was real consistent. 15 for Sean Jackson, 20 for Welker, 15 for D'Angelo, 20 for Grant, 3 for Brent Selleck, 16 for Vernon Davis, 15 for Justin Forsett, and then some other, and the rest, as they used to say on Gilligan's Island. Liam Neeson was a little more up and down. Tony Romo had a disappointing game in a 7-6 win over the Redskins. And that was a come-from-behind victory that might not have, really, I think the Dallas Cowboys brought shame to their families, even with this win. I think, in a way, it would have been more dignified to lose. Or maybe that's just because I don't like the Cowboys. But anyway, 20 from Romo, just 3 from Huzmanzada, 14 from LaShawn McCoy, 14 from Maurice Jones-Drew, which was fine, but not when you're expected to get 24. And just kind of ups and downs. Vicente Cianco not only got 13.8 points, but also won the Name of the Week Derby. But it all added up to 103, and that's not enough to beat 161. So that creates a little separation. Flaming Homers at 7-4, Liam Neeson at 6-5. But You Betcha is just on a tear. This kid is hot. He wins again. He wins again with a score of 126 over DeBiz's 95. When you're getting 1 out of Nick Folk and 1.7 out of Jeremy Shockey and 3.8 out of Santana Moss and 2 from the San Francisco defense, it's not going to be a good day. Rashard Mendenhall with his 17 points is not going to save you. Jay Cutler with the stupid look on his face and 24 points, it's just not going to save you. Drew Brees gets 36 for You Betcha, 20 from Sidney Rice. Who? 10 from Thomas Jones, 31 from Ricky Williams. This was a great pickup. I don't know if You Betcha has had him for a long time, but the combination of having Ricky Williams and having Ronnie Brown get hurt, he did this before. Oh, Devery Henderson did bring shame to his family with a negative 0.2 point performance in the win over Tampa Bay. But it all adds up to 126-95. You Betcha wins, takes a 1-game lead, or I guess holds a 1-game lead in the Superman division over the Flaming Homers. All right, let's go to the top of the Batman division. This is where Ruff the Passer is just by the thinnest margin clinging to its lead, the lead that it's had for the better part of the season. Actually, I'll talk about the game first, then I'll go back to that. So Ruff the Passer squared off with Jolly Rogers. Now, you remember Jolly Rogers started out the season real strong and then faded a little bit. Well, this week, he came up with 151 points, 54 from Roethlisberger, 12 from Chambers, 10 from Thomas, 20 from Jason Snelling, who? He's a sub for Michael Turner. Lawrence Tynes with 10, 13 from the Dallas defense, adds up to 151. Ruff the Passer, Schaub did what he could. He needed to get 67 last night for the victory, but he didn't come up with that. But he did come up with 42. Calvin Johnson, a Lion, got 22 in that incredible Lions-Browns tilt that came down to the wire, and Stafford showed us that he's a bad dude. Steven Jackson, what? He's still playing in the NFL? What? LaDainian Tomlinson, he's back. He's back, people. Steve Breston got 0.00. Reminds me of Animal House. And Mr. Blutarski, 0.00. Well, that's what Steve Breston got this week, 0.00. It adds up to not a halfway decent, not a halfway bad, 127 points. But the Jolly Rogers win. They pull themselves above 500. Rough the Passer drops back to 7-4. The deal here is that Rough the Passer at one time was 7-0. Lost 4 straight. Meanwhile, Brutta has won 5 straight. 5 games ago, Brutta was 2-4, and Rough the Passer was 6-0. Who'd have thunk that they're not tied. Rough the Passer is leading, but only because of divisional records. This is what I figured out. I thought it was points, but apparently it's not. Apparently it's divisional records. So Rough the Passer has a 5-2 divisional record, and Brutta at 3-4. So the upshot of that is there's no way that Brutta can pass him in terms of divisional record at this point. So he's going to need to win outright in terms of the record in order to pass Rough the Passer in the division. Speaking of Bretta another big victory. This was the closest game of the week, although it wasn't very close. 140 to 126. Bretta got a great performance from Aaron Rodgers. Anquan Bolden was 16. Tony Gonzalez was 14. Jericho Cutchery was 14. Robert Meacham, isn't he an actor as well? 13. Nate Kading, 15. 15 from your kicker. How about that? All adds up to 140. Over on the other side, there was really no threat here. There was no game that at the end or really Rob Baronis would have had to get like 29 points last night in order to be able to challenge. But Smack Attack, he did get 12 from Rob Baronis. I mean, what do you want from the guy? 23 from New England defense, 18 from Greg Jennings. All in all, not a bad day. Only 20 from Phillip Rivers. So 126 to 140. Wasn't that close, but it was closer than every other game. So that's nice to hear. Smack Attack 3 drops to 3-8 and is one of the 2 teams that is now eliminated from playoff contention. Unfortunately, good effort, Smack Attack 3. Good season. Rock on. Ghetto Superstar and the Eye squared off. Now, this is one that really was going to have a lot to say about which of these guys was going to be in contention for, well, anyway, it'd have an impact on the Batman Division playoffs. And coming into it, the Eye was 5-5 and Ghetto Superstar was 6-4. Had Ghetto Superstar won, he'd have been right up there with Rough the Passer and the Jolly Rogers, but the Eye won this 133 to 109. Not really that close, despite Liddell Betts getting 0.5 points for the Eye. Joe Flacco got 23, which is about what you'd expect from him. 15 out of Chris Johnson, which is a little less than you'd expect these days. 20 out of Kevin Smith, a Lion. What? 12 out of Steve Slayton, who I tried to trade Ghetto Superstar for last week, but he didn't go for it. 13 from the Minnesota defense. Adds up to 109.8. That's not going to beat 133, and that is why in the Batman division it is now a logjam at the top. And this is how it looks: Rough the Passer at 7-4, Brutta is at 7-4, but Rough the Passer was the lead because of the divisional record. Ghetto Superstar 6-5. Now his divisional record is also 5-2, so if he ties Rough the Passer, then it comes down to points, and Ghetto Superstar would win. So Rough the Passer, watch your back. And Brutta you could be leapt over if you don't keep winning. The Eye is 6-5, Jolly Rogers is 6-5. So 5 out of the 6 teams in the Batman division are within 1 game. It's crazy. So we don't know what's going to happen. It's all up in the air. We do know that the Invisible Cows have been eliminated from playoff contention, sadly. My son Jake usually makes the playoffs, usually puts up a pretty competitive team. Has really just had a hard time having a running game to speak of this year. This one's 123 to 102. Invisible Cows got 30 from Warner, 15, 11, 12, 11. Some decent points, but not enough. Over on the other side, Drew had a real decent game. 31 from Peyton Manning, 18 from Heinz Ward, 13 from Percy Harvin, 19 from Kevin Boss, but it wasn't enough. And the Invisible Cows go down to defeat. Let's see. Was there one more? You betcha. I talked about that. Talked about Smack Attack 3 in the Eye. Did I cover everybody? I think I covered everybody. If I didn't, I apologize. I'm running out of time on YouTube. Basically, what it comes down to is the next 2 weeks are critical. Survival football. A lot of people made some mistakes. Everybody's got 2 strikes except me, so make your pick before Thursday. 3 games on Thursday. Make your picks and set your lineups, and I will talk to you then. Have a good Thanksgiving week. Bye.